Reality. Blue star. Indonesian archipelago. Jakarta. Night. Crackling. In a room of a residential building, a young man with brown curly hair was eating a sandwich made by the Book of God while typing frantically. He was arguing fiercely with others about the recent news of spreading desolation from Daxia. Many people said on the internet that since Daxia officials forced people to enter the hideout, it would be better for others to do the same. It was probably first-hand information from some secret channels, but this young man with brown curly hair didn't think so, because he was a landlord. Before his father died, he left him a whole residential building, so that he would have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of his life. Even with the advent of the godforsaken game, he didn't give up his building. Bullshit? What about the spreading of desolation? I'm very safe here. Even if some monsters invade reality, I'm a level 17 archer. I can guarantee that all the friends living in my building will be very safe. There is news that as long as you pass the challenge of the high-level Divine Power Tower, you can get the Book of Divine Grant Defense Barrier. At that time, I will add a defense barrier to my building. The keyboard was crackling by the young man. The more he typed, the more excited he became. It was obvious that he was arguing fiercely with countless people and fighting with the keyboard. But suddenly, he found that something was wrong, because he typed a series of words, but found that he couldn't send them out. Is the network disconnected? The brown curly-haired young man's face changed slightly. It's unscientific. Why is the network disconnected in my building? He ate the rest of the sandwich in one bite, and then crawled under the table to check the network cable. Fuck. Is everything okay? When he came out from under the table cursing, he suddenly froze, because when he looked up, he saw a dark crack on his ceiling, more than 3 meters long and 1 meter wide, splitting the ceiling of his room in half. That's not the main thing. The most terrifying thing is, one after another, 4-handed mummies were falling from the crack, and then stood up in his room. There were already several mummies, staring at him with their shriveled eyes. Wow. Fuck! The brown curly-haired young man's face suddenly turned pale. He subconsciously took out the bow and arrow from his storage backpack and attacked the 4-handed mummies. But unfortunately, his lower body was still under the table, and he was unable to move. And the 4-handed mummies had opened their mouths and sprayed white turbid energy liquid at him. Puff, puff, puff. The young man with brown curly hair barely managed to shoot an arrow, but it went off center, and then he was completely enveloped by the attacks of the 4-handed mummies. The horrible corrosive energy put the young man in extreme pain. But fortunately, he extracted a lot of physical attributes, and crawled out from under the table while enduring the pain. With just 2 hits, his face was almost corroded. But he was not dead yet, and he started to attack with his backhand. I should have extracted some attack skills to realize this is only a normal attack, and the damage to these monsters doesn't seem to be high. The young man wanted to cry. He didn't extract any skills, so he could only attack with normal attacks, and each normal attack didn't cause much damage to the monsters. He shot and ran, and turned back to cast a reconnaissance spell, and found that these 4-handed mummies were actually more than 20 levels of monsters, and the area he is in now has become a violent area with 100 times the life flow rate. At night, the stars in the sky disappeared silently, forever disappearing from the night sky of the blue star. Instead, there was a layer of gray fog, just like the sky in the godforsaken game. Always gray, day and night. Treatment. I need treatment. The brown, curly-haired young man limped out of his room, shouting for help. At this time, his whole body had been corroded by the monster's attack, and his whole body was rotten. Although he was not dead, he was almost dead, just as he pushed the door open and escaped. Whoosh! A gust of wind came from above his head, and then a big black mouth fell from the sky, directly swallowing his entire festering body. Burp! A big-mouthed toad with a black body burped and jumped out to the roof of the opposite building. America. Mexico. This is a country where criminals and gangs are rampant. Since the advent of the God-abandoned game, this place has become a paradise for the strong and a hell for the weak. The God-abandoned continent? In the ruins of Hueslaco, near the Gulf of Mexico, there was a gangster team that was attacking a platinum-level boss in a violent area with 100 times the lifespan flow rate. With the resources they exploited, they were ahead of many people and could easily deal with the platinum-level boss, so they laughed while attacking, competing in output. If I'm the #1 in output today, go back and prepare 10 wives for me. Stupid. Aren't you afraid of being exhausted? Are you still worried about Hulda? Only wives will die. The bald man codenamed Hulda was holding a platinum-level dagger, with a snake tattooed on his arm, smoking a cigarette, and throwing a shadow blade at the corrupted wolf boss from a distance. However, his shadow blade was not like Qinfeng's without cooling. It basically took more than 3 seconds to release once. In the interval between the boss releasing skills, he dared to go up and steal a set of skills, dealing more than 10,000 damage. This damage was already one of the best in their team. Seeing that the health bar of the platinum level boss was about to reach the bottom, suddenly, the faces of all the players in this team changed drastically. What's going on? Our lifespan flow rate suddenly became 10,000 times? Damn it. Is there a bug? I read the notes, and it said that we are also in the violent zone in reality, which is superimposed with the violent zone in the game. 100 times 100 times is 10,000 times. In reality, the violent zone, everyone's face changed drastically. The bald man Hulda was also shocked, When everyone was distracted, the platinum level boss suddenly found an opportunity and jumped to kill an elderly priest in 1 second. Don't worry. Kill the boss first? It took more than a minute for everyone to kill the boss with a lifespan flow rate of 10,000 times. In just a few dozen seconds, their lifespans have been lost for more than 10 days. This made them look pale. When they wanted to log off, they were even more horrified to find that they were surrounded by all kinds of monsters. If they log off, they will die. If they don't log off, they will die too. It's better to bet all their lifespans, extract them to reality, and then leave this area. Let's go. Everyone, log off with me and fight your way out of the hotel together. This group of people came to the hotel to have fun last night and did not return to their hiding place. So they faced this terrifying situation. Just when they logged off one by one and fought their way out of their rooms, an emerald level boss, Hanged Man, was already on the ceiling of the hotel lobby, holding 2 daggers and waiting with a dark smile. Just a moment later, this team, which was considered to be in the upper middle class in the entire Mexican country, was completely wiped out. Various similar situations appeared all over the world of Blue Star. Countries around the world almost simultaneously fell into the terrifying stage of desolation in Tianzhu country. In a village, a group of villagers were kneeling down to a skinny, long-armed demon monkey boss, respected Lord Hanuman. Bless us. The kneeling villagers shocked the long-armed demon monkey a little. He stretched out his hand and scratched his head. He didn't understand why these human players were kneeling down to him, but soon it confirmed that there was no danger. He grinned with a weird smile, stretched out his hand and pinched it, and a series of dark magic balls exploded on the villagers, directly blowing them into a bloody mess. In the Bear Country, an official guild was strangling the monsters in the city, and even found the cracks where the monsters came from. But they couldn't stop more monsters from coming to reality through the cracks. This is already a violent area with 100 times the life flow rate. We retreat? Retreat. Give up this area. No. This is my hometown. It will never be occupied by monsters. Ula. In Daxia. Because of Qinfeng's reminder, Daxia's official departments from top to bottom have made preparations and countermeasures in advance. When the global network was disconnected and power transmission in various places encountered problems, Daxia officials responded immediately. Because the specific distribution of the violent area and gentle area after the spread of Wasteland is uncertain. Daxia officials have already dispatched official personnel to disperse in various areas, communicate through private chats with game friends, and communication crystal rings south of Yushantown, gentle area. East of Jinghai County, violent area. All personnel evacuate immediately and go to the western area of Jinghai County, northwest turbulent area of Baiyun District. People in the north can go to the gentle area in the south through here. Chaos. Even with Qinfeng's reminder and advanced preparation, there is really not much that can be done in just 2 days. Although the overall situation in Daxia is much better than in other countries. But if you observe the specific situation in each area, it is still extremely chaotic. In this situation, the biggest problem faced by the authorities is that the communication and exchange of information is much more difficult than before. In the past, the internet and mobile phones could send a few messages and text messages to notify many messages. But now, the internet is gone, and the mobile phone signal is gone. The communication between people depends entirely on the existing guild channel, team channels, and private chats in the friend list. This means the speed of information dissemination has been reduced by many times compared to before. In the last life, this era was directly called the Silent Era. In this era, some traditional information dissemination channels have become the main means of communication, such as newspapers, magazines. It is much more difficult for people to obtain information than before, and the efficiency of obtaining information is lower. Such chaos will last at least several days before people can barely adapt. In the process, countless people died in the violent and turbulent areas, especially those with weaker combat power and some bad players, who became the first targets of the monsters just after the desolation began to spread. In the North American sky, the original Big Sun disappeared completely within a few minutes and was replaced by a gray sky. The night turned into gray fog, and the day turned into gray fog. From then on, the blue planet was still rotating, and even the physical properties of all aspects were not much different from before. But it lost the day and night forever. The network was interrupted. The electromagnetic signal was interrupted. Even many power transmissions were completely interrupted, and various power plants around the world were completely shut down. Fortunately, the players had long been accustomed to using the Book of Divine Grant and quickly adapted to such changes. As for Qinfeng, after confirming that his location was indeed a mild area, he told Zhang Jingxuan and Wanye Weiyu that he would use this place as a base for the time being. It was also during this chaos that Qinfeng used the teleportation array of the Ghost Academy in the game, and spent more than 10 years of his life to teleport to the ruins of the east capital of the Sakura country. There were 2 purposes for this trip. First, to observe the actions of the Key Guild and confirm where the NPC they wanted to invite was. After inviting the NPC back, Qinfeng could convert the old Calamity Snakefang into an item that could be used in this world. Second, he had to pay attention to the statue with the help of Ichiro Toshima. The epic statue would arrive in the real Sakura country east capital area and could attracting many people to worship. Qinfeng needs to observe the specific situation. If Toshima Ichiro has a problem, Qinfeng is willing to give a little help, find a place to level up first, and get information while leveling up. Qinfeng is naturally familiar with the language of Sakura country. After all, he also dealt with Sakura country players in his previous life. With the spiritual attributes of his previous life, he learned the language of Sakura country, and he would not forget it after rebirth. Besides, the spread of Wasteland has just begun. Qinfeng is not in a hurry. No matter which of the two things happened so early. 2 days ago, Qinfeng had cleared the best leveling points around the Magic City, and there are not many monsters refreshed yet. It's just right to come around the East City. There are good leveling points to clear all the monsters. This move will not attract the attention of the players of Sakura country. After all, the first point is that the spread of Wasteland has just arrived, so how can the players of Sakura country have the heart to run around? Second, the leveling points Qinfeng found were all above level 30. At this stage, basically no players would go there. And even if they did, they would not realize that it was Qinfeng who was spawning monsters. Sakura country. Dongdu Ruins. The trading area that was once bustling with people is now sparsely populated, with only a few players still coming and going in groups. Most players have returned to reality and adapted to the changes brought about by the spread of Wasteland. Many turbulent and violent areas are uninhabitable. Most players have to find a new gentle area to live in. The situation in Dongdu is a bit tragic, because the most lively area in Dongdu has become a violent area, resulting in heavy casualties. Qinfeng rode Osirios to the sky above the ruins of Dongdu. Looking at the scattered Dongdu players below, Osirios was very excited. Human assassin. I heard that there are many beautiful teachers in Sakura country. Do you want to capture some and learn some knowledge? Qinfeng had a headache just when he was about to say something to it. He was suddenly stunned, because he saw something that he had never expected to appear in the ruins of Dongdu. It was a statue located in the eastern square of the ruins of Dongdu, more than 7 meters high, in the image of a long-tailed snake woman holding a halberd, with a convex front and a curved back. Extremely beautiful. Is this the epic boss? The long-tailed snake demon. Qinfeng recognized the statue at a glance. The statue that caused the tragedy of more than 100,000 deaths in Dongdu. It was this thing. Qinfeng originally thought that this thing was brought back by Ichiro Toshima from the wild, but he didn't expect it to be in the city. I want to see what means you, a snake woman, have to make so many people willingly worship. Qinfeng became curious. Let Osirio fly to the statue of the long-tailed snake demon, and be ready to consume divinity at any time to offset some possible order effect. But at this moment, Osiris laughed. Human assassin. So you like beautiful snakes? But she is a statue, more than 7 meters tall, which doesn't match you? Or do you like driving big cars? Qinfeng sneered. If you keep talking nonsense, I will let Brother Jie from Guanggang deal with you. She is a muscle warrior, with double the growth of strength. Plus she is gifted. A man on a man? Can you withstand it? Osiris closed his mouth immediately after saying this, and his green eyes showed tension. It immediately began to calculate whether the strength and control strength of Brother Ji could suppress it. Qinfeng rode Osirios and flew all the way to the nearby statue of the long-tailed snake goddess. Osirios stopped directly on a half-collapsed stone pillar. Qinfeng jumped down and walked forward in the ruins. Occasionally, a team of Dongdu players passed by quickly, all in a hurry. Now these players are not in a hurry to level up, but many guilds are more frequently looking for hiding places. After all, after the spread of the wasteland began, people soon realize, even in the mild areas in reality, the protection of hiding places is needed. And the higher the level of hiding place, the better. However, up to now, the platinum level hiding places in each city ruins have basically been occupied. Even those that have not been found are located in extremely secret locations and are not so easy to be discovered. This statue does not seem to have any options to operate. Qinfeng came to the statue of the long-tailed snake goddess, observed it for a while, and then frowned. The Dongdu players who passed by from time to time did not realize that the shadow was right in front of them. Every male player who passed by couldn't help but look at the long-tailed snake goddess statue several times. There was no way. The statue's body curves were completely impossible to ignore. However, these male players did not take any further action. Do you want to communicate with her? Forget it. I won't show up for the time being. Qinfeng thought about it and gave up the idea. He summoned the Grey Chicken, and then used Integrate into the Darkness to pull it into a permanent invisible state, and the current Grey Chicken has the effect of Qinfeng's Shadow Professional Advancement. Even if it attacks, it will not leave the invisible state. Of course, this is just a precautionary situation. In fact, Qinfeng just let it scout here to see when Comrade Ichiro Toshima will come. Let me stay here and blow the northwest wind. The Grey Chicken raised a wing, touched its head, and looked confused. I need to find time to level up, Qinfeng said. You also want me to quickly reach level 40 and go find your mother, right? After hearing this, the Grey Chicken immediately became honest. As for the two-headed phoenix mother, Lutasol, the Grey Chicken naturally has the impression of inherited memory, and naturally hopes to reunite with her. Suddenly, the Grey Chicken stood at attention and bowed. I obey your order. But speaking of Mom, Qinfeng thought of the Tower of Divine Power in the Magic City. It was almost after the spread of desolation that people finally found a way to get the Book of Divine Grant from Mom for free. Start to form teams of 2, 1 man and 1 woman. 1 woman, and go to challenge. When we get back, we will take action, and we can almost take Mom Virginie to the land of judgment before people know about it. This is an experiment. If successful, Lan Feng will have more experience in the use of Blade of Judgment, so he left the Grey Chicken next to the long-tailed snake goddess statue, and rode Osiris to find a place outside the ruins of Dongdu to level up. Just when countries around the world were in dire straits, Qian Feng was leisurely clearing monsters and small bosses outside the ruins of Dongdu. As long as it was a leveling area above level 25, Qian Feng did not miss it. Anyway, he was now level 30, and killing level 25 monsters would not reduce experience. His experience continued to grow. Nightmare resistance continued to accumulate. Evolution points continued to accumulate. Finally, after a day, he accumulated 900 evolution points, and could evolve the skill of Snatching Saint Hand from legendary to mythical. Snatching Saint Hand and Legend Arrive Myth, used on a single target. Permanently steal 3 points of random 4-dimensional attributes from the target. Required level 20. Attribute points gained through this skill. 31500 arrive 330. Legendary effect. Take it temporarily, steal 20% of the target's current attributes. Lasting 10 minutes. Bah. Mythic new effect. Cancel the cooldown of this skill. Bah. Note, the same target can only be stolen by this skill once at most. Qian Feng has been using this skill. The attribute points stolen through this skill have reached 330 points. On average, the 4-dimensional attributes have been improved by about 80 points each, and the left and right hand skills have doubled, which is about 160 points. When it evolves to the mythical level, the total attribute it can steal increases from 1500 points to 3000 points, and the two skills are 6000 points. The average attribute is 1500 points. The most important thing is, this skill that has reached the mythical level has the added effect of canceling the cooldown time, although it can only be used once for the same target. But if there is no cooldown, you can quickly steal 6,000 points of attributes, and it is more flexible to use, so you don't have to worry about not having skills to use when you encounter a boss. Last time when fighting the epic giant octopus, Qian Feng did not start with the thief, because before the fight, he had used the thief to steal the attributes of other monsters, and it had not yet cooled down. But now there is no need to worry about this situation. Then I only need to steal about 2 Zuzan monsters, and I can steal 6,000 points of attributes. Qian Feng suddenly became interested. This improvement is terrifying. You should know that Qian Feng's 4-dimensional attributes, including strength, spirit, and agility, have all reached more than 700 because of the effect of the legendary 3-phase ring, maintaining a perfect balance. If the 6,000 attribute points of the Robbery Master are fully stolen, Qian Feng's strength, spirit, and agility will soar to more than 3,200, almost doubling. It's a pity that the attribute points stolen by the Robbery Master are still random. Otherwise, if all the points are stolen to agility, wouldn't it be explosive? Qian Feng sighed. Although it's a pity, there's nothing we can do. Now this skill is strong enough. Next, it will take 144 Zuzan evolution points to evolve to the ancient level. Basically, don't think about it in a short time. After all, it's just an inferior skill at the beginning, so it's normal to need more evolution points. Consider other practical skills first. However, Qian Feng is still looking forward to this skill reaching the ancient level. After all, when will the restriction that this skill can only be used once for the same target be cancelled? But if this restriction is cancelled, it's too abnormal. It shouldn't be, although Qian Feng guessed this. He naturally had some expectations in his heart. So, Qian Feng was killing monsters while stealing the Holy Hand before each monster was killed by him in seconds. He reached out and grabbed it from the air, especially in places where monsters gathered. Qian Feng remained invisible. Swish, swish, swish. He kept attacking. Every time he attacked, he got 3 points of random attributes. The monsters whose attributes were stolen were confused one by one. What was going on? Why did their attributes drop inexplicably? Unfortunately, no matter how alert they were, they could not find Qian Feng in the invisible state. As Qian Feng kept killing monsters, his evolution points slowly accumulated. At this time, Qian Feng planned to continue to evolve some of his commonly used skills to enhance his regular strength. So, on the 3rd day of the beginning of the spread of the wasteland, Qian Feng accumulated more than 1,000 evolution points again and decided to evolve Double Blade Mastery and Shadow Blade. You have consumed 300 evolution points, and 868 points are left. Better. Double Blade Mastery, Legend Arrive Myth. Double Blade attributes increase by 150%, arrive 180%. When dual wielding dagger, dagger attributes increase by 25%, arrive 40%. Required level 18. Meh. Legendary effect. When equipped with dual blades, or dual wielding daggers, skill release, speed increase by 20%, arrive 40%. Mythic new effect. When equipped with dual blades, or dual wielding daggers, gain 88% dodge rate. First is the Assassin's Essential skill, Double Blade Mastery. This skill has been upgraded from Legend to Myth, and while the attributes are higher, it also provides an 88% dodge rate attribute. Originally, Qian Feng's dodge rate only had the effect of the skill Ghost Blur, which is 85%. The epic Ghost Blur effect is already abnormal for other players, but for Qian Feng, it seems dispensable, especially after having 2 other ways to generate the damage shield. Qian Feng rarely used the Black Light Shield to convert the dodge rate. Blessing of the Thunder Fairy can generate 1 layer of damage shield per second. Shadow Dance Shield can obtain the same number of damage shield layers as the stealth level when entering the stealth state. However, the higher the dodge, the better. 85% plus 88% of the 2 dodge rates. The result of the superposition and multiplication is 98% of the final dodge rate. If you want to ensure that Qin Feng is hit, it means that the opponent must have at least 5,000% hit correction. This is a terrifying value that even Qin Feng himself has not reached. Generally speaking, the hit correction of the epic boss is about 1,000% to 1,200%, and some stronger ones can reach 1,500%, and the maximum if you want a 5,000% hit correction, you need to reach the level of a legendary boss. After evolving the Double Blade Mastery, Qin Feng's damage is further improved, and at this time, he has already stolen the 3,000 x2 attribute points of the Thief Master, and his strength, spirit, and agility have been greatly improved. With the legendary 3-phase ring, you can consider adding all the free attribute points to agility, which is the highest benefit. But this legendary ring will be replaced sooner or later. It's a bit of putting the cart before the horse to reset points for a piece of equipment. Anyway, Han Feng is not short of output now. After the stealing attribute of the Thief Master is maxed out, Han Feng's current damage can directly kill some epic bosses instantly. If it is improved again, most epic bosses can be stably killed instantly. Then, it is the most commonly used small skill to evolve, Shadow Blade. Qin Feng's main burst skill is now instant destruction. However, Shadow Blade is usually used more often, and this skill may have a miraculous effect if it evolves. You have consumed 800 evolution points, and there are 68 points left. Shadow Blade Legend Arrive Myth. Shadow Blade adds 1,500 Arrive 6,000 Dark Element attacks. After hitting, it will clear the buff effects on a target that do not exceed the myth level. Cooldown 7 Arrive 30, 64 seconds. Required level 40. Legendary special effect, when hitting a weak point, 3 seconds of cooldown will be returned. Mythic new effect, when hitting a weak point, the target's cleared buff effect will be transferred to itself if the self has the same buff. The highest effect of the same type will be taken. The legendary hit return cooldown effect is still useful now, although the basic cooldown is only 64 seconds. Qin Feng can throw Shadow Blade 3 times per second. Without the cooldown return, the output of Shadow Blade alone will be much lower. The newly added mythical effect surprised Qin Feng a little. Originally, it can clear the target's buff effect. Now it has become transfer. Seeing this effect, Qin Feng showed a meaningful smile. In this case, this skill has a lot of operability. Although it seems to have no great effect at present, if it is against a legendary boss, this effect may have a miraculous effect. When Shadow Blade is evolved to the mythical level, it will take 13,000 evolution points to evolve to the ancient level. It can be seen that skills with a relatively low initial grade are indeed much more difficult to evolve later. But it must be said that Shadow Blade, a long-range flying knife with no cooldown, is very convenient in many cases, so Qin Feng still chose to keep it. Just when Qin Feng was about to continue to kill monsters, the Grey Chicken left in the ruins of Dongdu finally sent a message. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The swordsman player you mentioned has appeared, but he was sneaky and confirmed again and again that there was no one else around before he began to worship the long-tailed snake goddess statue. Finally, Qin Feng was not disappointed. Brother Tashima Ichiro is here. Keep watching his actions. I'm coming back now. Qin Feng took out a teleportation stone, selected the city ruins in the current area, and teleported. The options that the teleportation stone can teleport to include hiding place, city ruins in the current area, and self-built teleportation array. Qin Feng leveled up in the ruins of Dongdu, so he could naturally teleport to the ruins of Dongdu. At this time, it was the 3rd day of the spread of desolation in Daxia. Whether it was the Magic City, Zhanghai, or Guanggang, Haicheng, Kyoto, and other major cities, they had basically stabilized. The number of mild areas, turbulent areas, and violent areas in each city has been basically counted so far. This is the first time that the wasteland has spread, so there are about half of the mild areas left. People's living space is still relatively spacious. Of course, even in the mild areas, monsters often emerge from the cracks, so the hideout has become the residence for everyone to survive. In addition, the official also needs to be responsible for sending people out to clean up the monsters regularly, so that some monsters will not start to attack some small hideouts and hurt ordinary people. Except for Daxia. Most areas in the world are still in the early stages of chaos. In just 2 days, hundreds of millions of people have died in the first wave of the wasteland, including the east capital of Sakura country. There are also heavy casualties. Of course, most of those who will die in this first wave are relatively weak people. In addition, as long as they are more cautious and stay in the real hideout all the time, they will not be in too much danger. At most, they will consume some lifespan. In these 2 days, the players are basically busy moving in reality. Stay away from turbulent and violent areas all over the world. There are many places fighting over territory in the mild area. It is the same here in Dongdu. Several large guilds in Dongdu have completely occupied the best terrain in the mild area. Ichiro Tashima is one of them. But, at this time, Ichiro Tashima was alone, secretly worshipping the long-tailed snake goddess. In the ruins of Dongdu, the 7-meter-tall long-tailed snake goddess statue, holding a long halberd, has a charming figure, and the eyes carved from stone are calm and have a strange charm. And Ichiro Tashima, wearing a wanderer's cloth, a long sword hanging on his waist, and a long braid, he came to the statue of the long-tailed snake goddess with a stern look, knelt down on his knees, and began to worship. The reason why Qinfeng didn't communicate with the statue was to prevent it from having any strange order power. And Tashima Ichiro was naturally not afraid. After all, he didn't know that there was such a thing as order in this game. After a while, Tashima Ichiro's face changed and he looked excited. Obviously, something happened to him that was completely beyond his expectations. Soon, Qinfeng rode on Osiris and flew over while keeping invisible. He sat on Osiris, summoned the gray chicken to his shoulder, and entered the melon-eating mode from a distance, because when this incident happened in the previous life, it was already the Silent Age and communication was not well developed. So Qinfeng did not understand the specific situation of the Sakura country disaster. I didn't expect that I would have the opportunity to experience this disaster immersively. Qinfeng naturally did not want to stop Ichiro Tashima. Even Qinfeng is now extremely cautious and vigilant about the long-tailed snake goddess statue. He dared not approach it casually, let alone participate in it casually. This weird thing is more terrifying than those epic bosses that appear in front of people. This statue is just a statue after all. It has not yet been activated as a boss. If Qinfeng approached rashly, he might also fall into it. Although there is a divine blade of judgment, Minfeng cannot guarantee that if he is involved, his lifespan will be enough to offset it. When Qinfeng came over, he happened to catch up with Ichiro Tashima, who had just finished the worship. Then he saw that Ichiro Tashima was very excited. Sure enough, I only spent 100 days of my life to get 10 points of all attributes. This is too cost effective. Long live the goddess. The most important thing is that I drew a hidden reward. In the future, for every person I develop to come to worship, I can get an additional 81 points of all attributes. Ichiro Tashima looked at the attribute growth on the attribute panel, and his expression became a little crazy. Hearing his mumbling, Qinfeng was stunned. How is it possible? Doesn't this mean that as long as there are 10,000 people worshipping in the future, Ichiro Tashima can increase all attributes by 10 points? 100,000 people means 100 points of all attributes. This attribute is nothing to Qinfeng. But what does it mean to ordinary players? That's self-evident. You have to know that Anyu, Wang Meng, and other top players besides Qinfeng now have only 300 points of 4-dimensional attributes, which is already extremely top level. If all attributes are increased by 100 points, it will be a significant improvement in strength. However, Qinfeng knew that this kind of thing was fake at first glance. Because why does this epic boss give so many attributes? Let's not talk about anything else. Even if it's just to let a player permanently increase one attribute, it's extremely difficult. Mostly it's a trick. So, this statue does have the power of some kind of order. Can it correct the player's ability to view his own attributes, as well as the subsequent changes brought about by the attributes? This order is a bit awesome, but it obviously requires some triggering condition. Worship is its triggering condition. Once worshipped, it is equivalent to accepting the modification of cognition by the power of the order. Of course, this is just Qinfeng's guess. If it is really the power of this order, then it can really do this, relying on deception to make people fall into the joy of attribute improvement. This kind of deception is not only visual deception, but also perceptual deception. And even the most terrifying is cognitive deception. Any unreasonable phenomenon caused by this kind of deception will be ignored by the players. This is the most fatal point. Qinfeng is not very sure now, and he has to wait and see. If this is the effect of the statue, then it is probably a prop used by some ancient god to control and develop the followers. Qinfeng continued to watch. Just after Ichiro Tashima finished the worship, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he lowered his head, as if listening to the words from the long-tailed snake goddess statue. Soon, Ichiro Tashima nodded respectfully. Yes, my goddess. He is not a believer either, but the statue in front of him can allow him to continuously improve his attributes, which makes him see the future of his rise. If I keep developing, it is not impossible for me to punch Shadow and kick Daxia. Ichiro Tashima sneered. Then he was seen doing a few exercises on the spot, as if he was feeling the physical strength after his attributes were improved. Soon, it should be confirmed that his attributes were truly improved. He was relieved. It can be seen that this guy is still relatively cautious, but unfortunately, he encountered the power of order that he could not understand. After a while, Ichiro Tashima's men came. The bald priest Yoshida, the cold assassin with short white hair Hojo, and 9 other players rushed over together. Then at Ichiro Tashima, under the order of Ichiro Tashima, they knelt down in front of the long-tailed snake goddess statue one by one. Every time someone knelt down, that person would show a shocked expression, and then a little regretful. Obviously, the people behind did not get the hidden reward like Ichiro Tashima, but even if they only got 10 points of all attributes, it was quite good for them, equivalent to upgrading 2 or 3 levels. Then, Qinfeng saw the 11 of them lifting up the long-tailed snake goddess statue together. The whole statue probably weighs dozens of tons. But the strength attribute of each of these players is dozens of times higher than that of normal people, so there is no problem lifting it. Then, the white-haired assassin Hojo, who was watching from the side, released a group invisibility skill. Make everyone invisible. What are they doing? Qinfeng ate the melon with interest. He still turned off the effect of seeing through to avoid affecting the other party's operation. Qinfeng thought that these people wanted to move the statue to their hiding place. As a result, these people actually moved the long-tailed snake female demon statue towards a black crack that had just appeared in the ruins. That black crack was the passage connecting to the reality of Blue Star. Players could not enter, but monsters could. Good fellow. What are they doing? Qinfeng was a little confused, but soon. He barely knew by observing the mouth shapes of those invisible guys who kept talking. It seems that when the statue is in the game, Ichiro Teshima's hidden reward is not effective. Only in reality can subsequent people worship and provide additional attributes to Ichiro Teshima. This group of people chatted in the team channel, so Qinfeng could only barely judge by the mouth shape. Anyway, the meaning is almost right. No wonder this operation is necessary. With the temptation of the hidden reward, even if Ichiro Teshima thinks there will be problems, he will choose to move the statue to reality. Things suddenly became interesting. Unfortunately, soon, when the statue was moved to the dark crack by Ichiro Teshima and others and thrown into the crack, the group of people quickly went offline. At this time, Qinfeng was thinking about a question. If this is really an order ability similar to Deception, why did it appear in the ruins of Dongdu? Logically, this kind of thing cannot appear in such an obvious place. Qinfeng narrowed his eyes. Obviously, the epic boss or the future legendary boss, the long-tailed snake demon, had some tricks in advance to come to the ruins of Dongdu. As for how it was done, Qinfeng didn't know. But for Qinfeng, this is not important. What's important is this boss killed more than 100,000 people and gained the lifespan that can be advanced to the legendary boss at one time. How much lifespan is that? When the time comes, Qinfeng took the opportunity to kill it and took all its lifespans. Wouldn't that be a great harvest? It's just a pity for the long-tailed snake demon. This boss never expected that she had dug such a big pit. She thought she could advance to the legendary level, but in the end, there was an old man behind her who was the Yellow Bird. After Ichiro Teshima and his team sent the long-tailed snake goddess statue back to reality, Qinfeng could not see the situation for a while. It seems that I still have to go to the Sakura country, Qinfeng thought, in the godforsaken game. It is not possible for current players to fly directly from the Magic City to the East City in the Sakura country area. The two places are extremely far apart, and there are many areas with super high life flow rates, and even many areas filled with super suffix energy like the Pollution River. Even if Qinfeng enters it, it is difficult to pass through smoothly. It is better to go directly through the teleportation array and spend decades of life to go there. However, Qinfeng estimated that it would take some time for things to ferment. After all, communication is inconvenient now, and messages can only be transmitted through private chats between people, and it is not so fast to gather 100,000 people together. In addition, there is no movement from the Key Guild. Qinfeng remembered that it was only after the statue murder incident that the Key Guild found the NPC and invited the NPC back, and it was useless when it was first invited back. After all, at this stage, no player can get items that are not from this world. Of course, even if Qinfeng remembered it wrong, it would not have much impact if the Key Guild invited the NPC back. As long as Qinfeng defeated the Key Guild and disbanded it, he could take the NPC away. In China before, doing this was a bit unethical, but since it is in the Sakura country, who cares so much? So, Qinfeng first took the time to go to the Los Angeles ruins in North America. He saw the epic boss Thriller Hut who worked diligently for him. Los Angeles ruins. A small room next to the teleportation array hall. The Thriller Hut made of flesh and blood is located in the corner of the room, emitting bursts of instant death and nightmare superordinate affix energy. And the dark energy body surrounds it for a long time. But when Qinfeng arrived, the trembling hut, which was made of flesh and blood, trembled directly, and a flattering smile appeared on the door of the hut. Mr. Shadow, you are here recently. The wasteland has just spread, and there are few people online to level up. The harvest these 2 days is not very good. Qinfeng heard it. Oh, this guy still wants to bargain. He immediately looked at the hut with a fake smile. You collect money on a weekly basis. When you first started collecting money, the wasteland had not spread yet. Stop talking nonsense. Hand in this week's money first. 35,000 years of life. The trembling hut heard this and wanted to cry without tears. He threw out the life obediently, and 1,000-year white life light balls were thrown on the ground. Qinfeng absorbed it slowly, and soon put 35,000 years of tradable life into his pocket. Then he turned and left, returning to the teleportation array hall. Coincidentally, the teleportation array lit up a burst of light. Surprisingly, several figures were teleported over. At this time, Qinfeng was not invisible. So, those figures immediately met Qinfeng. Gudong, a girl swallowed her saliva. Qinfeng looked and found that there were 4 players of the Great Xia descent, 2 men and 2 women. One of the girls was shocked at first, and then a little excited. It's Shadow. It's really Shadow. But soon, the young man next to her seemed to be her boyfriend, and he immediately reacted and pulled her away. What Shadow? We didn't see anything. Don't talk nonsense. With Shadow's stealth level, can we see it? Fake. All fake. Just an illusion. A group of people immediately left the teleportation array room quickly without looking around. It seems that they are afraid of being killed because they bumped into Shadow here after all. Shadow's appearance here means that he may have some deal with the shocking clown. In addition, even if they don't want to leave, it's unrealistic, because this place is surrounded by instant death and nightmare energy. If they do not leave the 200-meter range of the Trembling House for 20 seconds, they will fall into a nightmare state at the same time as they die. Who else can stay here except Qin Feng? According to Qin Feng's previous instructions, the Trembling House does not need to care about the players who are teleported to the Los Angeles ruins, so the Trembling Clown Assassiner, who was invisible at the door, let the 4 people leave directly. Qin Feng watched this scene quietly and did not follow. After thinking about it, this should be a player of the Daxia Guild who came from the ruins of other cities in North America and planned to go to the Los Angeles ruins. Now, the 14 Daxia Guilds in the Los Angeles ruins are living a very good life, with the Trembling Clown as a backer. No one dares to bully the members of the Daxia Guild anymore, because once the players of the Daxia Guild are killed, the players of the Daxia Guild can find the Trembling Clown with the kill record. Anyone who kills, even if the members of the Daxia Guild paid protection fees, they would still be on the hunting list of the Shocking Clown. In fact, nowadays, there are still some players who are suddenly hunted by the Shocking Clown. Obviously, they all did not pay protection fees. Under the management of Stina, the hunting list of the Shocking Clown is very clear. Just a casual comparison will tell you which ones can be killed and which ones cannot be killed. It should take another day or two for the situation in Sakura Country to ferment. The leveling points around the ruins of Dongdu have been almost refreshed. The leveling points around the ruins of Los Angeles should not be missed. Since Qin Feng came here once, he would not return empty-handed. While getting the lifespan from the Shocking Clown, he also planned to go to the leveling points outside the ruins. He glanced at his nightmare resistance. If the effect of the Sun of the Upper is not taken into account, the nightmare resistance that Qin Feng has superimposed through the Endless Nightmare has now exceeded 1,000 points, doubled by the Sun of the Upper. It is more than 2,000 points. It's fun to cheat, and it's fun to cheat all the time. Qin Feng could only sigh that after these skills evolved, the effects were superimposed, which was really amazing. He wrote Osiris to fly out of the ruins. He planned to find some areas above level 25 to clear all the monsters. A few minutes later, Osiris flew over a dry grass field, which was a monster refresh point of level 17 and 19. Qin Feng saw many teams leveling up by killing monsters on the grass. Although it was a violent area, the monster refresh speed was not fast, and those leveling teams were looking for monsters everywhere on the grass. Suddenly, Qin Feng saw a familiar figure. It was the long-haired beauty manager of the Los Angeles Daxia Chamber of Commerce, Dawn. She was leading her team to kill monsters and level up. But in addition to the 6 people in her team, there was a young man next to her who kept pestering her, as if asking for something. Is it him? Qin Feng took a look and laughed. Isn't this the JC Flame who died in his hands before, when he was pretending to be the Shocking Clown and cleaning up those North American players in the Los Angeles ruins? This guy was one of them. The last time I saw him, he was still a player of the Daxia Guild who was participating in the siege of Los Angeles. So now, he came to find Fuxiao and asked Fuxiao to agree to let him join the guild. The last time they met, Qin Feng sent him directly into the Nightmare State. But the Nightmare State also has a duration. Even if there is no nightmare resistance, it will recover naturally after 2 days. Obviously, this young Asian player, codenamed JC, Flame was well taken care of after entering the nightmare. Perhaps it was his father-in-law who helped him and brought him along when the wasteland spread, which saved him from the fate of dying all the time and losing his life. But this guy, after waking up, actually chose to turn back and find Fu Xiao to join the Daxia Guild. Qin Feng heard from afar that this guy and Fu Xiao seemed to be schoolmates. He wanted to rely on this relationship to let Fu Xiao agree to let him join the guild. However, Fu Xiao naturally refused. Zhang Jingchen, don't dream. Since you have chosen North America, there is nothing to say between us. Fu Xiao was determined and was not affected by Zhang Jingchen at all. He bent his bow and arrow and hunted monsters. There was a close friend next to her who also sneered and said, "You participated in the siege and killing us before, and we haven't settled the score with you yet. If you keep pestering me, I won't tolerate you and will send you back to the city for free." The hidden profession of flame shooter Zhang Jingchen is really thick-skinned. Hearing this, he said sincerely, "It's okay. I know that my previous actions have disappointed everyone, but I am a Daxia after all. Believe me, I really regret it." You regret it. Suddenly, Qin Feng let Osirio fly close to the ground, raised his hand and fired a shadow blade. Qin Feng had killed many people before, and he didn't have enough divinity to send everyone to the land of judgment. But now this guy jumped on his face again. If he jumps like this, will Qin Feng still tolerate him? Fuxiao's close friend may have just given him a verbal warning, but Qin Feng really took action. So, kill. Take him to the land of judgment, all in one go. From the beginning to the end, Qin Feng and Osirio did not show up, and there was no trace of the shadow blade. The young man codenamed JC Flame was suddenly killed, and his body disappeared in an instant, and was taken to the place of judgment. This scene, in the eyes of Fuxiao and the people around, it was like a living person who disappeared in an instant. People. Everyone was confused by this situation. Fuxiao's beautiful eyes also showed confusion. What's going on? People suddenly disappeared. Although she was very impatient with Zhang Jingchen, the sudden disappearance of people still made Fuxiao a little uneasy. Fortunately, a few minutes later, she received a private message, and she never expected that this was a private message from Shadow. Shadow. Zhang Jingchen, I'll deal with him for you, and he won't appear again in the future. Fuxiao took a breath of cold air, and then it was a little incredible. Oh my god. Did Shadow appear just now? She raised her head, put down the longbow in her hand, and looked around with her beautiful eyes. But she didn't see any traces of Shadow. This scene shocked Fuxiao completely. She had known for a long time that Shadow was elusive. But this scene now completely shocked her worldview. Just now, a living person. Suddenly, whoosh, the person is gone. No, Fuxiao thought with a smile. When this person disappeared, there was not even a whoosh. Logically speaking, this is in the game. Even if he is killed, he can only be resurrected at most. At most, he will be hit by a higher level of fix and fall into madness and chaos. But Shadow can actually make people disappear directly. Fuxiao had heard about this before. I didn't expect to see it with my own eyes now. When she explained the situation to her teammates who didn't know the truth, their eyes widened one by one, and her best friend waved her hand towards the sky with great excitement. Can you see Shadow? Fuxiao and others were a little surprised by the girl's behavior. As a result, the girl smiled and said, I can't see it, but there's nothing wrong with me waving my hand towards the sky, right? After all, Shadow must be flying in the sky. He has such a big dragon. Fuxiao was silent for a moment, and finally said, You're talking about a mount. Wow! Xiaofu, your thoughts are not pure, Zhao Kai. I didn't say anything. It's you who is unhealthy. At this time, Qinfeng had already left the place just now. Through the trial of Zhang Jingchen, Qinfeng learned that this guy was indeed a double-faced person and a fence-sitter. Now he wants to join the Daxia Guild, and he really regrets it, because after the spread of the wasteland, the 14 Daxia guilds in Los Angeles gathered together directly, occupying a mild area with a good geographical location. Even next to it is the hideout of the noble restaurant of the Los Angeles Security Group. Because of the relationship between Qinfeng and the Shocking Clown, the Los Angeles Security Group led by Stina now has a good relationship with the 14 guilds in Daxia, and is already the most powerful guild in Los Angeles. No doubt about it. Stina doesn't even need to do it herself if she wants to kill someone. Just one sentence is enough to decide the hunting list of the Shocking Clown. So, after Zhang Jingchen woke up from the nightmare state, he realized the future pattern of Los Angeles. The 14 Daxia guilds will definitely take this opportunity to rise, and even far exceed the North American guild he originally belonged to. So, this guy just went for the benefit and avoided the harm, jumping back and forth. He abandoned his North American girlfriend and wanted to re-enter Daxia. Unexpectedly, Dawn did not agree to his joining at all. Although this guy's nationality has not changed, but the fact that he participated in the siege of Los Angeles by members of the Daxia Guild has made him notorious in the Daxia circle in Los Angeles. Not only did Dawn not accept him, other Daxia guilds would not accept him either. What this guy didn't expect was Qinfeng actually saw his persistent behavior. Hanfeng judged him. What Qinfeng was quite satisfied with was that this guy was quite strong. After the trial, he was still given 1 point of divinity limit and basic attribute increase. As for the result of the trial, Qinfeng defined this guy's crime as jumping back and forth. So Zhang Jingchen would continue to experience the ending of being frozen to death or burned to death in the trial site. He would appear in a field, half of which was ice and the other half was fire. He could move freely in the field, but whether he came to the ice field or the fire field, he would die soon. The young man ended up well, and he can enjoy the 2 worlds of ice and fire. After the trial, Qinfeng went to find a place to level up leisurely. As for Zhang Jingchen, he was killed for no apparent reason, came to the Judgment Land for no apparent reason, and was judged again for no apparent reason and came to the illusion of ice and fire. Oh my god. The young man finally collapsed 2 days later. Qinfeng had almost cleared the level 25-30 training areas outside the Los Angeles ruins. He finally accumulated experience to about level 31.5. Of course, Qinfeng still did not take the initiative to upgrade and maintain the level of 30. This can reduce the attenuation of experience and evolution points so as to avoid attenuation when fighting level 25 monsters and bosses. At this rate, it will take more than 10 days to reach level 35. Qinfeng sighed. Although he can kill monsters in 1 second, there are not so many monsters for him to kill in 1 second. He has to fly around to find the leveling area. No matter how fast Osiris flies, it is impossible to arrive instantly. Of course, there is still a place with many monsters. That is the Abyss Road challenge that is open after level 30. This challenge will be ranked globally. In the process of the Abyss Road challenge, you need to face a constant stream of monsters. But unfortunately, monsters in the Abyss Road will not give experience value rewards for Qinfeng. There is no rush to participate in this challenge, because in the Abyss Road, the higher the level and the faster the kills. The more rewards you will get. The rewards for each level are 1 time. Anyway, there is no level limit. The stronger you are, the more rewards you will get when you challenge the Abyss Road. The rewards for rushing to the level of the Abyss Road are a large amount of life, plus some rare equipment modification materials. These materials can add additional attributes to equipment or forge equipment. For example, you can strip off the items or special effects of equipment and then apply them to other equipment. For another example, you can strengthen a certain item of equipment to increase the item value. In addition to the Abyss Road, such materials can also be obtained from normal routes, such as the Ancient Gods Faith Temple, ruins, etc. But the prerequisite is that at least the Epic Temple and ruins will produce such equipment transformation materials. If there are such material, you can try to strip off the 3-phase balance special effect of the 3-phase ring. And the Roslav's contract, which enhances the inviolable term, is also worth stripping off. Of course, Einfeng does not plan to change his equipment for the time being. The next time he changes, he will basically change to mythical equipment and wait until he can kill the legendary boss. At present, Einfeng's level is still not enough to kill the legendary boss, because most legendary bosses carry the power of order. Once you enter the boss range, you can only fight with the boss within the range specified by the boss. For example, the previous Worm Queen is of this type, but it is relatively weak. The real legendary boss, the power of order on the body, greatly limits the player's strength. Although Qinfeng has divine weapons that can consume divinity to offset order, the consumption is also extremely alarming. If he can't kill the boss instantly, then Qinfeng may fall into a quagmire. Besides, even if I want to kill it now, there is no legendary boss for me to kill. Qinfeng shook his head. Just then, Qinfeng received a private message from Wanye Weiyu. Master, something happened in Dongdu recently. I'm a little unsure about the embassy, so I want to ask. It's said that there is a statue of a god. After worshipping it, you can spend 100 days of life and get 10 points of all attributes. Is this reliable? It can be heard that the girl now trusts Qinfeng very much. Qinfeng did not answer immediately, but asked back, "What's going on over there?" Wanye Weiyu quickly said, "I heard that the statue inexplicably appeared on the rooftop of the Roppongi radio building, and now it has attracted many people to go there. The area is a turbulent area with a flow rate of 10 times the lifespan. Many people are crowded in the building, wanting to go to the rooftop to worship the statue. It is said that it is very chaotic and there have been many stampedes. Our embassy people learned the news and asked specifically to prevent accidents. After all, the statue is only 3 kilometers away from our embassy." After hearing the news, Qinfeng thought about it and replied, "Although I haven't heard of such a thing, but in this case, it's best to stay away and let people evacuate." Wanye Weiyu nodded. "Well, that area is a turbulent area. Most people have already left, but there are still people on duty at the embassy. I will notify them now. There are still some Dexia people in Dongdu, although flights have been opened. Some people have not returned. A little reminder will not have much impact on Qinfeng." Anyway, Qinfeng remembered that the number of people killed by the statue in one wave was more than 130,000. It's impossible that after Qinfeng's reminder, 30,000 people would die less, right? Let's go. Set off. When Qinfeng got the news, he finally decided to set off. In reality, it takes nearly 2,000 kilometers from the Magic City to the East City. But for Qinfeng, it only takes about an hour to fly there. I hope this boss will not let me down. And the things related to order on it, maybe it is another ancient godstone tablet. As far as Qinfeng knows, many ancient gods have similar abilities that can affect people's cognition and feelings, which can consume lifespan to achieve the effect. The long-tailed snake goddess statue takes 100 days of life as the price just to modify people's cognition. But so, any player who worships the statue is equivalent to being sold and counting money for others. In addition, the boss chose the rooftop of the radio building as the location, which is really insidious. In that case, more and more players who want to worship the statue will rush to the rooftop, thus blocking the corridor, which will definitely lead to more and more people crowded together and unable to evacuate. Just when Qinfeng rode Osiris across the ocean, Real Blue Star, Sakura Country, Dongdu, under the gray sky, the Roppongi District radio building has been surrounded by countless Sakura Country players. Looking around, there are crowds of people. On the rooftop, a long-tailed snake goddess statue holding a sharp halberd stands proudly. Countless people around her crawled towards her and worshipped. After the worship, those people's all attributes plus 10 left with a big laugh. Simi Masai. "Make way. I have finished the worship. Let me go. Thank you. Don't push. Don't push. Baga! Who touched my wife's buttocks just now? Stand up and I promise not to beat you to death. Please, everyone. Look at your feet. Don't pay attention to me. Even if I have 300 points of physical fitness, I will be trampled to death." The rooftop and the corridor are crowded with people, and on the outer wall of the building, there are even some strange players operating. Some players use hooks to hook the outer wall and climb up step by step. There are also several players with flying mounts, soliciting customers outside the building. Fly directly to the rooftop, worship the statue in 3 minutes, and only pay 1 year of life. No cheating. Otherwise, you will waste several hours and may not be able to worship successfully. It can be said that the 8 immortals went upstairs, each showing their magical powers. From time to time, players were squeezed and fell off the rooftop. From the looks of it, If all the players in this area had not been silenced by the power of the statue, I'm afraid even the entire building would have been blown up. The long-tailed snake goddess statue standing on the rooftop remained calm, as if all this had nothing to do with her. The most terrifying thing is, even though this is a turbulent area, more and more players are rushing over. They all learn that worshipping the statue can gain 10 points of all attributes, and they don't want to miss this opportunity. A few kilometers away, a team of 2 men and 2 women was rushing towards the building. Oh, hurry up. It is said that the statue will stop being worshipped at 12 o'clock tonight. A twin-tailed woman from Sakura country said anxiously, looking at her clothes. She should be a Sagittarius player. Suddenly, the 2 young men behind her stopped. The 2 young men were twins, and they were international students from Daxia. One of them is called Ma Yi, and the other is called Ma Fei. Since they both found girlfriends in Dongdu, they have not returned to Daxia for the time being. But at this time, they seem to have received some notice. Their faces changed, and they stopped moving forward. Ma Yi-jun, what's wrong with you? Brother Ma Yi's girlfriend is a long-haired girl from Sakura country. She was wearing a priest robe and looked gentle and considerate. When she saw her boyfriend stop, she immediately asked the question with some confusion. Just now, Senior Kong from the embassy sent me a message asking us to stay away from the radio building, saying that there might be problems there. Brother Ma Yi said calmly, carrying a 2-handed axe behind him. He looked like a warrior profession, tall and strong, and very safe. The younger brother Ma Fei laughed. Isn't it just that there are a few more people? Let's go there and take a flight directly. Although I heard that the lifespan has increased to 500 days. We can go directly to the rooftop. The 4 of us have only been worshipping for more than 7 years. It's okay to leave after the worship? Ma Yi shook his head. I believe in Senior Kong. And this matter is indeed a bit abnormal when I think about it carefully. It can be seen that the 4 people seemed to struggle, but after a few minutes, they finally made completely different decisions. The calm young man Ma Yi, with his long-haired girlfriend, retreated to a distance, and the younger brother Ma Fei, with his girlfriend with twin ponytails, continued to approach the radio building. The girl with the ponytails curled her lips and said, Ma Fei, your brother is such a coward. Although Ma Fei chose to move on, he was obviously a little worried and said in a deep voice, Don't say that. I can understand him. We'd better hurry up and leave immediately after worshipping. We must not stay there. The girl with the ponytails laughed. So you Daxia are all cowards. It's just a statue, not a boss. What's there to be afraid of? If there was any danger, those who worshipped would have died long ago. It's been 2 days and nothing has happened. Why do you want to hesitate? They rushed to the radio building as fast as possible. There were still several streets between them, but they could already see the dense shadows on the rooftop of the building, as well as the towering long-tailed snake goddess statue. But just when they were about to arrive, they didn't know that the shadow from Daxia had already flown across the ocean and arrived above this area. At the same time, just when Ma Fei and his girlfriend wanted to get closer to the building and find someone with a flying mount to negotiate the price, something changed suddenly. They had been staring at the statue, but suddenly, the statue suddenly cracked from the front. The originally upright chest suddenly tore a hole. At the same time, a terrifying black instant death energy erupted from the crack of the statue and instantly spread to the surrounding area of 3 kilometers. This terrifying scene first shocked the players on the rooftop. Instant death, it's an instant death affix. Oh, it's Aunt Da. This is reality. Once you die, you are really dead. I thought that mumbling and nightmare were the most terrifying superordinate affixes, but in reality, instant death affixes are the most straightforward. I'll beat you to death. Save me. Save me. In just this moment, thousands of players on the rooftop were all in a series of extremely complex emotions, such as shock, fear, regret, and so on. Then, these people turned around and fled, even if there was no way to escape on the rooftop. They jumped directly out of the rooftop.